Hi, I'm Frankie.
And I'm Cheyenne.
And we are
Conbini Cult.
Woo! We have a very special guest with us today because we're going to be talking about Japanese language school, something we haven't covered yet on the pod. And we wanted to bring somebody who has experience. So without further ado...
Today's special guest is, who are you? Introduce yourself, please.
Hi guys, my name is Ariana. I go by maplesushi on Instagram, and if you want to follow me over there, feel free to. But I've known these two girls and I've been following you guys for a long time.
Yes.
Years now. Not just as the Conbini Cult, but as like individual creators.
As individual
As people. Yeah.
Sorry.
As people.
Yeah.
We're our own person.
Just, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, like, as the foreigner community goes and content creators in Japan, especially during the pandemic, I think I came across you, Cheyenne, through your TikToks.
TikTok, yeah. I think
And
that's how we all met was TikTok.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Probably Internet.
Internet.
Yeah.
But that would be the case for a lot of foreigners living here. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in this day and age, that's the easiest way to meet people. So...
Yeah.
But I feel very happy and honored that you guys invited me here today. So I hope that I have some wisdom to give you. I'm not really sure how much I can give, but I'll try my best.
No, I think you have a lot of wisdom to give because you've been here the longest out of all of us, or like out of me and Frankie, I guess.
We're 8.5 years.
Yeah, we're the same. And then
Oh
you
my
are?
God.
How many years have you been in Japan?
I'm now on my 12th year. Yeah.
Dang.
It's kind of crazy because I would think, have I really been here 12 years? I can't believe I've been here longer than you guys. It doesn't really feel that way.
I feel like we're all the same age. I don't know, like I kind of forget we're all different ages. We've all been here for different amounts of time, but it's all the same at the end of the day. But you're our senpai in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maple sushi senpai.
Senpai.
Kouhai tachi.
Yeah. So we've talked on the podcast before. We did an episode about language learning advice, but we didn't go too into depth about language school. So I wanted to, talk about that. But in my own personal experience, I've only done part-time. So here in Osaka, pre-COVID, actually, I did part-time, maybe like 3 times a week. I didn't change to a student visa. So my experience might be a little bit different than somebody who went full-time and changed to a student visa. So yeah, we want to ask you about that. And then also have some testimonials from people on Instagram. I just basically asked, like, if you've done it, do you think it's worth it? Is it worth the money? Did it help you get a job? That kind of stuff. So I have a few responses from Instagram that we can share. And then, just generally talk about our experience studying at language school.
And I've never studied at language school here in Japan, so I'm here for the ride. I just want to learn more about it and hear your guys' experiences. So that's the plan for today.
Okay.
Yay!
Should we start with before coming to Japan?
Yeah.
Did you study Japanese? Did you take lessons?
No, not really. I did work at a Japanese restaurant, but in Canada, the amount of Japanese you actually have to use when you work at a restaurant is learning the names of fish. I was really good. Like, I can tell you that surf clam is hokkigai. I can tell you that, unagi is freshwater eel, but anago is seawater eel and things like that. But, my boss, who was Japanese, he was the owner of this restaurant, would tell me, like, don't try to use Japanese. You look and sound ridiculous doing it. And it makes sense because, we didn't get a lot of Japanese customers. It was Canadian customers of different countries and everyone's, imin, immigrant. So it's a very different situation. But when I came to Japan, I actually came on JET program. So I know, right?
Jet senpai.
Jet this.
Not a jet.
But it was a really good way of coming. You don't get to choose where you live. And because I lived in such a countryside area, my speaking skills developed quite quickly. However, I wouldn't say they were skills that would be useful in any kind of working environment or any professional environment because I spoke a hougen, which is like a dialect of a certain area called tosaben. And so it's close to Kansai dialects. There is a lot of like similarities between the two, but it sounds weird as a foreign person speaking this hougen in another place that isn't Kochi. So after I finished on JET, I decided to kind of invest into myself. And I decided to enroll in a language school full-time, but only for 6 months. And I know that a lot of students will enroll for up to 2 years full-time. You can't go beyond 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years is the max.
Yeah.
So anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. And then for the part-time program I was in, it could be, I think, like 1 to 3 months. And then you would, repay the tuition. So.
How many hours of class time did you have per week as a part-time?
So you could choose. You could go anywhere between 2 and 5 days a week. So it would either be the morning classes or the afternoon classes. I think it was maybe 9 to 12 or 1 to 4-ish were the options. So I was doing 3 days a week.
Okay, so that's the difference because even as a full-time, the schools are not all day. Mm-hmm. You only do either the morning classes, depending if you are a higher level or lower level, or afternoon classes. And then you had the options of working if you wanted to. You could still work a part-time job, but with the student visa, you can't work more than 20 hours per week with the work permit. So you still had to be majority going to school, which would be like 40 hours a week. Say if you are there from 8 in the morning to 1 o'clock, 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. So I did school 5 days a week, but every morning.
Mm-hmm. I see. Is it different, for example, for Frankie, if you're only going to school part-time, could you work more then? You didn't have that 20-hour cap or...
Oh, yeah, because I wasn't on a student visa, so there was no restrictions.
Okay.
It depends. Like, some people were there, they had working visas and they were just going to school, or maybe some people were on a spouse visa and they were going there too. So yeah, it's just with the particular student visa where you have a restriction on the amount of time you can work per week. And then also, so when you apply for that visa at immigration, you also need to put in an application for permission to work, right?
Yeah, so they don't automatically give you permission to work. Yeah. So when you get your student visa, you do not have a work permit to work. You have to apply for that separately or in addition to that, which actually I didn't do. I had saved some money during JET program to kind of use this time to invest into myself. So I kind of thought I worked hard for 5 years. I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back and just really focus on studying. However, I do think the students that worked part-time while studying actually improved their Japanese faster because they were working in Japanese environments.
I bet, especially if they're working at for example, a Conbini or maybe in a restaurant or something.
Clothing store, something.
Yeah.
Those are probably popular.
And you're going to school full-time, not working. So I ask this because if I were a full-time student, I'm just bad at studying. I'd be like, no, I'm just going to hang out in Tokyo. You were in Tokyo, right? Did you actually study and invest? Were you a good
self-study?
Yeah.
I did do a lot of self-study. To be fair, I had a lot of friends in Tokyo during the 5 years I was in Kochi. I always wanted to go to Tokyo and meet my friends because there's just so many more people in Tokyo. So I kind of, ちょっと誘惑に負けた. I kind of fell to temptation and I did at least the first 3 months of starting language school. I did do a lot of, not travel, but I was going to places with friends that I never had a chance to because I wasn't based in Tokyo before. Yeah. But I did properly study when the JLPT was coming.
Okay. Was it a requirement for you in language school to take the JLPT?
It was not, but there were options. Actually, at the language school, there were elective classes as well. So the way that my language school worked at that time, let's be clear here, I went to language school from 2018 to 2019 for 6 months. So for the fall and spring semester of 2018 and 2019, respectfully. They encouraged you to take the JLPT, especially the December one, because the fall semester starts in October, right? They go on the assumption that you are going to take the JLPT if you're in the higher levels, especially. And I was placed in the higher levels. So my classes were in the morning, at least for this language school. And the lower levels were in the afternoon. And the elective that you could take, which was, they had these 4 periods essentially. My first period was kanji, and then 2 classes of general bunpo, grammar and vocabulary, and it felt like a general language class. And then an elective, which changed every day. So I would have, for example, I took Keigo on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then I think I had a class, it was jiji, which is like current events. So we would we would read articles and discuss them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also had a humor class. I didn't do well on that one, to be honest.
Humor, like you had to
Like
study
comedy?
Japanese manzai or something?
Yeah.
Whoa,
And then,
that's
like,
advanced stuff.
They had to, and then they made you like make a joke at the end of like the.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of pressure. At the end of every class or just at the end of the
No, I think it was at
course?
the end of the terms that they had, which they had like a couple through. I think it was
You
like
had to do like a
4
skit.
weeks. Thankfully, no. I'm not that proficient to have the confidence to do a whole skit or even just. I think for me the biggest hurdle was understanding Japanese humor in general.
That's true. That's true.
That's kind of, I hear a lot, like, if you can understand, like, manzai or just understand the humor, Japanese humor in general, then you're proficient in Japanese, basically. But it's so hard, especially a lot of it is in Kansai dialect, and it's just fast. And I think a lot of it has to do with pop culture and just general, I don't know, cultural references. So if you're unfamiliar with all of that, you can't, it's really hard to pick up, at least for me. Yeah. So that's a hard class. Yeah.
I think that would be hard to do in language school because presumably you're like kind of new here and you're in school because you're not so familiar with the.
Well, that's why it was an elective.
Yeah.
I think the most popular elective was watching movies.
Oh.
Like watching it, analyzing it, talking about it.
It was like a
in
Ghibli
Japanese
class.
So
they would watch like Ghibli movies. And I think that I didn't take it personally because I've seen every Ghibli movie. I could have analyzed it, but I was more taken with, I think the current events was probably the most entertaining one. And I think it's also the most practical.
Practical, yeah.
And it gave you the most vocabulary because it's real vocabulary that's used in media and things like that you would come across in your day-to-day or even online.
Yeah.
Well,
that makes sense.
I have a joke in Japanese if you guys want to hear it.
教えてください.
Why do people from Hawaii have such nice teeth?
Why?
Hawaii kara.
Dajare.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I love dajare. Like,
what is the
dad
meaning
jokes,
for the
speakers? So like ha is the Japanese word for teeth, and so I basically, and i means good, so I said because the teeth are good. It's a pun. It's a Japanese pun, but yeah, that's it.
Hopefully you'll have like some jimaku, some subtitles to kind of explain that one.
Always, yeah. But for anybody just listening, they won't see the subtitle, so we've got to explain it too.
Tell that joke at your next nomikai. I think a lot of people will be impressed. I heard that joke at one of my first drinking parties, nomikai, when I came here to work on the JET program, and that's the only reason why I know that joke. I did not make up that joke. I don't take credit for it, but it was fun because I'm from Hawaii. So, yeah.
So to take it back to the elective for JLPT, basically, if you're in the higher levels, most of the students that are enrolled they make it a goal to get the JLPT, and they almost sign up for it every time there is one, like every 6 months, right? Because there's one the first Sunday of December, and then there's another one the first Sunday of July.
Yeah.
For me, I knew that I wouldn't be able to get the summer one during the time I'm in the course, so I went right for it. What was good about the elective for the JLPT is that they took like, you know, the textbooks they use, sa matome, like it's like the sa matome books. It's for the JLPT.
Yeah.
They would really just go through page by page and just break it down and give you a bunch of examples like reibun of how vocabulary was used in different ways. And if students had any questions, like a Japanese teacher was there to answer your question right away if you're confused. So it really was, it wasn't one-on-one because there's like 20 people in the class, but you really felt that you could get that direct explanation because those books have no explanation.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
They just list the kanji and the examples, but they don't really give any nuance.
Yeah.
And sometimes the English transliterations are like, we see there's some kind of nuance to it, but we don't know what context it's used.
Yeah.
So it really helped for that. Before going into language school, I had the JLPT N3. I did have that.
Okay.
Because I had conversation skills.
Mm-hmm.
When I entered the language school, they require a placement test for
Oh yeah, I was
to
going to
choose.
ask about that. Yeah.
So I don't know about the part-time, or even
we
what
also
school.
did. Yeah.
But did you have like a writing and a mensetsu, like an interview test?
Damn.
Or both?
Yeah,
or
it was multiple choice, the test. I think maybe about 50 questions. And then also an interview, just speaking with the, I don't know, admissions person or whatever. So yeah, at that time, they placed me in like upper intermediate.
Yeah.
And at the time that I started going, because I went for on and off for about maybe 4 or 5 months, I think. And when I first started, they had an upper intermediate class, and I would go there like 3 times a week. But then they took that class away, and then my only options were intermediate, which was too easy, and then
You wouldn't be getting your
advanced,
money.
which was too hard. So then I thought, yeah, because at the time my budget was tight anyway, so I thought they don't even have the level that I need, so I am going to stop going.
Drop out. Yeah.
I think that advanced would have been more worth your money, but it would have been a challenge being part-time while juggling work at the same time. If you were full-time,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
advanced would have been good because you could dedicate more time into actually like sitting down and studying and challenging yourself doing that. But as for part-time, I think you want something that is right within your range, maybe a little bit more difficult, but nothing that's overly challenging.
Yeah. I think for full-time students, there might be more options about which levels they have because there weren't as many part-time students. So they were just like, oh, yeah, take away that level. We don't need it.
I know. So I think the only part-time students that I had met, I don't even know if it was because they were going any times a week. I had one guy in my kanji class. So it's really interesting with my placement test because my speaking skills were decent not growing up.
Maybe she's born with it.
Yeah.
Living in the countryside, Inaka, for 5 years, you
Yeah.
will pick up
picked it up,
conversation.
yeah.
However, my kanji and writing skills and just overall like polite Japanese skills were trash, to say the least.
Okay.
So during my placement test, the first component was kind of multiple choice, as you said. And then at the end of it, there was like writing actual kanji.
Oh.
I can read kanji.
Yeah.
Writing is
And you
hard.
have to list all the onyomi and the kunyomi as well. So like the Chinese readings as well as like the Japanese readings underneath, they had like a certain structure to it. So I left it blank.
As many of us would have done. That is exactly what I would have done, yeah.
I left it as blank as how my mind had gone when I came across that component. So, but then when I did the interview, they were quite impressed. The interview was afterwards. It was a completely separate time period. And they were quite impressed with my language skills. They thought I was very casual, but so they placed me in upper intermediate as well. I don't know if you're going to have a list of anything about like the different levels, but they placed me at J7. I went, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I'm sure it just depends on
I
the
don't know
school.
what that means.
It could just depend on the school, yeah.
So what is J7 for your school?
How many levels were there?
7 sounds intense.
I think
10?
the highest level was like 11.
And 11 is fluency?
The most advanced?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the most advanced. And then like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think is the lower levels.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I just asked, so for example, the JLPT, and 1 is the highest
The most
level you can
advanced,
get,
yeah.
the most advanced proficiency, and then 5 is the lowest. So I'm like curious where 7 fits in that scale.
They're probably trying to match maybe a lot of foreign countries in the way of thinking of it as 1 being low and then like a higher number being higher to, and then once you get here, you can kind of understand that the JLPT is not like that.
Yeah.
But after the test, so they placed me in a lower kanji class because I was lower level kanji class. But for the 2 classes that were like the general Japanese, they placed me higher. So I was the only person that wasn't a kanji ken country. So I had a lot of Chinese, Southeast Asian that use kanji countries in my class. I was the only white person, to be frank, in my class. And I was the only person from a country that didn't use kanji, at least in my class. I don't know how it was for you, but
I found that in the more advanced classes, especially when I because I tried out both advanced and intermediate when they took away my other level. So in the more advanced class, there were more Asian students in there. And then in the intermediate class, it was more maybe European or American, Canadian classmates.
I didn't go to language school specifically, but when I did study abroad here, you have to take Japanese language class as, you know, a requirement. And I was placed in the lower level class when I came. And you could see the difference. All the lower level students were a lot of like Westerners in there. And then as you get higher in the levels, a lot of like Chinese students in kanji-ken countries as well. So, yeah.
Actually, kind of reminds me of an issue I had with a teacher at language school.
Oh.
Yeah, because in my kanji class, no, not my kanji class, in the regular class, they would put kanji on the board and I would be scrambling trying to write this kanji I've never used. But the teacher would be like rushing through it because he would look at everyone and be like, oh, you guys all know this. And he wouldn't explain anything. I think it was like the first couple weeks, I think I was skipping my class and kind of wasting my money because I was just so embarrassed because he kept pointing to the Taiwanese girl that I sat next to and he would like tell her, oh, will you explain it to her?
Well, that's just lazy teaching on his end. That's not her job. That's not what she went to school for. She's not paying money to teach you.
It's like, what are you paying? What are you being paid for, right? Exactly. What's your position?
You're the teacher.
Fortunately, my partner at the time did call them and complain to the school, and they told him off. And he did change his tune afterwards. But that was a slight issue being in a class with people from like kanji-ken, like kanji using countries. That I stumbled with. So if that's something that happens, please talk to your school. You are a paying customer, and the schools know that they're paying their Japanese teachers to do that explanation, and it reflects poorly on them if they can't fix that. You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
But speaking of you said you were like wasting your money skipping class and stuff. I'm curious, how much does language school cost for part-time and full-time?
Before that, I want to ask about attendance.
Okay.
With the mention of skipping class. Because I've heard that, when you're on a student visa, you need 80% attendance or something, or you could get your visa revoked.
Yeah. So the thing is that I skipped a class, but I didn't skip the day.
Yeah.
So I did go to school every single day. Yeah. I was skipping the classes. So I don't think that affected my attendance too much. But yes, when you are on a student visa, just like you have to be like at school, for more hours of the week than working, you have to have attendance. Otherwise, when you go to renew your visa or if you want to reapply for language school, they could turn you down because your attendance was not high enough.
Okay.
But would they revoke it if you don't go to school?
Well, because I guess if you are doing the 2 years... That is actually a really good question because I only did the 6 months and they gave me the full 6 months for my visa.
Oh, so I wonder if you were doing the 2-year program, you wouldn't get a 2-year visa, right? You would have to reapply every 6 months.
I wonder if you get a one. That's something to ask maybe in the next podcast.
I feel like
Let me Google.
Get at least 1 year.
Okay, so Google says it would be in shorter periods, like 1 year or maybe 1 year and 3 months, and would require a renewal if you do the full 2 years.
That would make sense because instead of giving a 2-year visa and just counting on students to fully attend, it's better to have a 1 year increment and then see how their attendance was. And if it's bad, they'll just drop out because they won't get the renewal.
Yeah.
It keeps accountability, at least on the student as well as the school.
Yeah, I think that makes sense then. Okay. So let's talk about the money.
Let's talk about the money. Give me my money.
I think I put in our doc what the average cost would be. So I want to see if you feel that is accurate.
Okay, so according to Frankie's notes, the average cost, annual cost for language school in Japan is approximately 800,000 yen to 1 million yen. So roughly 5,700 to 7,100 USD. Does that sound accurate for you? I know you're Canadian dollars, but still.
So I'm like, oh, that sounds more expensive. So from my experience, now again, this is back in 2018, so I'm sure the prices have fluctuated since then, for sure. However, I also did 6 months and not a full year. That will also be a factor. And also, even when I was... researching different schools, I used Gogo Nihon to find my language school.
They are good if you want to go full-time. They're kind of, in my experience, because I reached out to them about part-time stuff and it felt like a very robotic answer every time. And they're like, you can apply for the student visa from your home country. And I'm like, but I'm here and I want to go part-time and I don't need a visa. And then they were like, you can do blah, 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 blah.
What is Gogo Nihon?
Just a service.
School?
A service to connect you with language schools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a service that connects different language schools in different areas of Japan to like potential clients.
The gaijin part of language schools.
Exactly.
Kind of, but they would actually help you with paperwork.
So they actually arranged all my paperwork.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and it's free for the students. I believe that the language schools get charged.
Okay.
Like they pay Gogo Nihon to basically advertise for them, right? Because how can they get different students and money and people coming to them and knowing about them without some kind of promotional like representation?
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. And they are a good service, just maybe not for part-time.
Definitely shop around. Definitely shop around. So, for example, like at that time, one of the more expensive language schools was at that time Akamongai. And like when I researched them, I was like, oh, you get an iPad. You can go
iPad baby alert.
like they're like, we'll provide you an iPad and you can do your work at blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. And then when I looked at the price, I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll find something else. I ended up, and also you can look into the intense, like how intense.
Yes.
The intensity levels of different language schools, and that's how you can kind of shop around as well. I wanted medium intensity. I didn't want anything too light, and I didn't want anything too heavy. And Akamongai was heavier. So I went. Is it okay to say the language school?
If you don't mind.
So I went to the Intercultural School of Languages in Akihabara. So it's actually near Okachimachi Station. And so I would commute to Okachimachi and walk to the school from there. And it was very casual. It's a very small school, I think. I wonder what's small because I didn't really go to the other schools. But I would say that there was average no more than 20 people in your class.
That still sounds like a lot.
That's pretty big.
Like for language school in one class, yeah. And that was the smaller school you...
Well, it was the cheaper. It was the cheaper school.
Yeah. I assume like anything, if you're, seeking more one-on-one or smaller group, then that's going to cost more. And then if you're like looking for cheaper options, then I guess group, larger number of students. But in general, but I don't know.
I would say max 20. I know that seems like a lot, but there might be some language schools that have like 30 to 40 people in a kanji class.
Damn. Okay.
Right? But like, I don't really know because I can't really compare. Because I only went to the one school.
That's true. But I think because you had mentioned one-on-one lessons, I don't think you can be a full-time student doing one-on-one lessons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't count.
It's got to be in the program.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Maybe, I guess the one-on-one applies more to like, I don't know, tutoring programs. That's all I've really looked into. Yeah, it's just private lessons, not so much a language school.
I think it has to be an actual institution that will be willing to sponsor your visa.
Okay.
Yep.
Because you do have to get like a letter of guarantee.
Certificate
of eligibility. That's the one. Certificate of eligibility. However, because I already had a working visa because I was on JET, I had an instructor visa. I didn't have to have that. I just had to change the status, and it was really easy.
Yeah.
And the school arranged that for me. They just told me, come to school before you go pick up your visa. It was like 1 week before school started. I think they said, come 1 week before the semester starts and we'll give you the paperwork and you can go to immigration. And I went, and I think it only took, I think it didn't take very long. It was all very fast because I was panicking about it. I was like, oh gosh, school's starting, in time? But like I need my student visa. Yeah. What was funny was when the immigration officer, I went to pick up my student visa and he was confused because I was changing from a work visa to a student visa.
Yeah, to a 6-month student visa.
Right?
Oh, so it's kind of like, I guess, backwards in that order of operations.
It's like, you have a 3-year work visa. Go down? Why would you go down? You're already working. Why do you need to be a student? So he was confused and I kind of said, I want to invest into myself and I want to learn the language and be here longer than, temporary.
Yeah.
And he said, denied. No. But going back to like expenses, because I mean, it's not cheap, you know? Do you need to pay all of that in one go, or do you like,
Is
pay
it a lump sum?
How does that work for part-time and full-time? Yeah.
You also need to have bank statements from either yourself or maybe from parents or a spouse or something
prove you can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with a student visa
for months,
you have to prove that if something were to happen, that you are financially like able to float, essentially. And for some reason, for a full-time student visa, they want to see I don't want to say 100,000. Was it 10,000?
I think it depends on the school, maybe.
Well, because 40,000, it's a lot, but like it kind of makes sense to USD. Like when you were saying $100,000, that was crazy. When I studied abroad, not language school, but again, you don't really work on study abroad. I had to prove at least like $20,000 or $30,000 or something.
Do you know is that immigration that requires that, or is it the school? Because you know how for like
I think it's for immigration.
Teaching with a bachelor's degree, like it's not necessarily the school that asks for that. It's like immigration requires that copy of your bachelor's degree.
It's for immigration because it probably has something to do with your certificate of eligibility. Yeah, so if you can prove that you are financially stable and you can sustain life here, then they will give you the visa for
that sounds so funny. Sustain
life.
You sustained life recently with a baby.
Not at all.
Well, like what was interesting is I think the reason why I think it was definitely more than 10,000 for me is because at the time, like I had saved 10,000. So I could have proven that I was sustainable on my own. But I actually had to get my parents to show me bank statements and send them to me so that I could show it to the school because it was an exorbitant amount. That's why, like in my mind, I'm thinking 100,000. I don't know if I'm just exaggerating it because it's been like 6 years or 7 years. But I remember it was a heavy price. But it doesn't have to be your bank account. It's just to show that if you need money or if something were to happen, that you are not just financially stable, just in a space that like you are so comfortable for anything to happen.
Yeah, that
makes
makes
a lot
sense.
of money either way. Yeah.
For my situation, I paid for my schooling up front. They had like I paid 3 months and then 3 months. So I would pay for the semesters. I didn't pay for the full 6 months at once.
Okay.
Yeah. But the visa I got was the full 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have to renew my visa at 3 months.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, for me, because initially I did want to go full-time, but the cost of it, like paying that all up front and then having bank statements to prove, I didn't have anybody that could, So I was like, part-time?
Part-time
maybe?
it is.
Yeah. And then for me, the school that I went to is called Human Academy. It's a very strange name.
Sounds
like
fake.
Yes, I am really human.
Academy.
You're taught how to be a
how
person.
to be a human. Yeah. But they have locations, not just in Osaka, they're in Tokyo too, and maybe somewhere else. But they were appealing because they had the part-time program. So I paid monthly. And it was maybe like 55,000 for 5 days a week or 33,000 for 3 days a week, something like that.
That's probably why you were able to be like on and off a lot more than I was able to.
Yeah, because I was like, do I have the funds for this month? No. Let me go back to the club and make some money.
That can be good for flexibility.
Wait. Hey, yo, pause.
Just kidding.
Listen, when you're in your 20s in Japan.
Do what you gotta do. You didn't have that work visa stamp in the back. That's why. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
It was more flexible.
Yeah. Definitely flexible for students that can't really afford it. But at the same time, the pros and cons of that is that if you are not full-time, are you really like putting 100% into it and getting your money's worth?
And to that, I will say no.
What were you doing then if you were skipping school and stuff, just getting more real life experience?
Just teaching more.
Yeah. Oh, you're teaching.
Yeah, because I was teaching part-time. Yeah.
Well, you have to teach more if she's on a work visa.
I see.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But your outside hours, like when you're not working and you're not in school, are you studying? Are you dedicating that time? Or are you like, I've worked hard. I need to treat myself. Not me reading you like a book.
For me, self-study is really hard. Yeah. So, I didn't do that much outside of school. Aside from, like talking to people and watching movies and stuff. But like formal study with a textbook, No.
And do you guys, so let's say you finished all your courses, you know, your time is up. You've done your classes. Do you have a graduation ceremony, or do you get some kind of certificate? Do you get anything that shows I did it?
Yeah.
You're nodding yes.
Yeah. Well, because I actually have a picture of like my yuwaku
and
entrance ceremony.
Which is the entrance ceremony, and it's like when you first entered, they got everyone to come up to the podium and like introduce themselves in Japanese.
Very Japanese, yeah.
And then at the end, there was like a sotsugyo shiki. You get a certificate. I'm trying to think what else that we got. I feel like the entrance ceremony was much more organized than the graduation ceremony, because I think what happens is people start doing job hunting kind of mentality where it's really hard to line up everyone's schedules. Whereas when people are entering a school, they all have one goal, which is entering the school, especially the full-time ones, right? So it's a lot easier to make an entrance ceremony than a graduating ceremony that everyone can attend. Because now it's like that, well, they've already maybe started like looking at working or going to interviews and things like that. So that's from my memory. That might be different now.
Yeah. For part-time, there's nothing like that.
I was going to say, did you get a certificate or anything fancy?
No. But also, I mean, I was kind of joking before. Like, I don't think it was a waste of money or a waste of time. I was really curious about language school, so I am glad that I went.
Yeah.
But I think if you are going to go part-time, then you really need to supplement your studies.
You need to dedicate more time. For sure.
Yeah.
If you want to get the most out of it, if you're doing part-time.
Yeah. Even full-time as well. Like, you know, if you want to retain the stuff that you're learning, you need to make use of it.
Yeah.
I would say if you're in Tokyo and you want to improve your language skills, you either need to make Japanese friends or go to language school. Tokyo, there is too big of a foreign community, and it's so easy to make friends with foreigners. You get stuck in the bubble. And so I do think that it gave me that step up that I needed. Well, I was able to get N2. Yay, I did. And as for N1,
Same.
It's funny because I actually took N2 even after I passed it. I kept taking N2 every 6 months.
To get a better score?
Why? Yeah.
Or just to remember it?
To get a better score
torture
and
yourself?
motivate study, right? Without getting frustrated. I was not ready for N1.
The gap is huge. I mean,
it's such a big jump even from N3 to N2. And then imagine if this is a big jump, N2 to N1, it's like going to the ceiling. Like it's such a big jump.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I just took N2 like 7 more times after that.
7?
Damn! And those tests aren't cheap, by the way. Like,
well, not anymore.
Not anymore. I mean, 7 years ago, they're probably, 5,000 yen?
Yeah, what is it now? 7,000?
Yeah. It was like 5,500.
Yeah, and now they're probably 75.
I think the higher levels are now more.
Higher levels cost more?
Oh, wait. Don't quote me on this. Please look it up. I thought I looked at it, and I thought it said like Ichiman for N1 and N2.
No way. Because then no one would take it.
Yeah. You can cut this out if I'm wrong.
Okay.
From 2018, 2019, 2020, I do believe it went up from 5,500 to more. I think it's like 7,500.
Yeah, it's got to be like at least 7,500. Like 7,500 the max, most likely. Yeah.
Somebody has a phone.
It says, 7,500, but it could cost a different amount if you're taking it from a different country.
Yeah. For example, in the US,
right.
it is really expensive to
Is it like $100?
And they only offer it once a year.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think, So keep that in mind. Yeah.
The kind of rumors that went around my school was that the winter semester, like the winter JLPT, is significantly more difficult than the summer one. I don't know if that was something you heard, but that was something that they talked about. Have you heard this before?
I've heard that rumor before too, but I can't remember the reason, like the logic behind it.
I heard the
there was
opposite,
like a reason. Yeah, I mean, everyone hears different.
What is the truth?
Too, huh?
I think it's because of the chokai, the listening portion. Oh. It's like almost like super rapid when it's the winter one, and then it's like a little bit more paced in the summer one is what I've heard. And from my experience, I gotta say, yes, I did take the JLPT N2 like 7 times. However, like the last few times I never studied for it and I still passed.
Yeah.
I remember the reasoning why one is harder than the other. I can't remember if it's winter harder than summer or vice versa, but basically let's say the winter one is easier than the summer one. And the reason for that is because the summer one in other countries, it's only offered once a year. And let's say that is the one in summer. So they need to accommodate for more people with like all different kinds of levels, which is why it is harder versus the one in Japan. It's just for people in Japan. And so that's why it's like a bit easier is what I've heard. I don't understand.
Wouldn't
how
it be
that
the
makes
opposite
sense.
though?
No
the people
idea.
living in Japan should have it harder because they are in Japan being immersed in Japanese and maybe working.
That's
no
true.
idea.
But you have taken it, I assume, both in July and December?
Yes.
So
overall, what's
based on your experience?
The range,
I've passed like a lot of the summer ones and failed a lot of the winter ones. I wonder if I can actually check. I'll check.
Go back
Okay.
and check your
I can
scores,
check my scores and see what that is and when I passed and when I didn't. But some of them I didn't pass because I just didn't go. I wasted some money.
Yeah, I've done that.
I know some people have done that.
And especially you shouldn't really go when you're sick because you're in a building full of people.
A big lecture hall.
A big lecture hall, and the doors are closed. Like there's no air.
Clock.
There's no
nothing.
Yeah.
I've taken most of my JLPTs at different various universities is what they would host them, at least in Kobe and in Kochi. The one in Tokyo was near Kamata Station is where I took it, I think at a university. So it's really interesting. The different venues are going to be different. You have to look at your voucher because it will be different from even like your friends taking the same one.
Yep. Interesting. Is there any type of like exam you have to take in order to pass language school, or is it just, for your own like pat on the back, like I did it?
Well, it is a way to get a overall summary of how you're doing in the school. They will have like end of semester tests, especially for like all the classes. Some of the classes had regular testing. It would be like every Friday there would be some kind of quiz. Okay. Especially for kanji. Kanji we had a quiz every Friday, I believe.
Yeah.
If not every day. No. I'm trying to I think it was from this chapter to this chapter, memorize all these kanji, and we're having a quiz at the end
like
of the Friday.
A little pop quiz moment.
Yeah. It's like, these are the things we studied this week, and they would do a quiz. And then for like the Keigo class, we had to do like conversation in an office. That was one of the ways that she kind of tested you with the teacher. There was, for the electives, there wasn't any. There might have been like a project, like the humor one.
Yeah.
Or something like that, but there wasn't very much like a formal test for the elective.
So before we get into some of the testimonies, I just had
Yeah.
one more question for me, at least. Was it worth it going to language school for you? Like, was it helpful?
Yeah.
Do you
Did it
recommend the
improve
experience for anyone else? Yeah. What was it?
I would say that at that time, I didn't regret it at all. It really gave me that boost to get the JLPT N2, and having that on a resume is helpful.
Yeah.
N3 is good, but it's so competitive now with so many like foreign people that are interested in Japanese compared to 10 years ago.
Yep.
And it is competitive. So you have to have more of an edge. If anything, I should be trying to go for N1.
Yeah. I think like back in my day, like 10 years ago as well, if you had N2, you were kind of set to get like interviews for Japanese companies. That was the requirement.
The threshold.
Yeah, the threshold for applying in a Japanese company was N2. These days, I mean, when I left the JET program 3 years ago, a lot of companies were, even when I got to the interview stage and I was speaking with them just fine, they were like, hey, you're great. You speak Japanese okay, but you don't have N1. So I'm sorry, we can't proceed to the next level.
The new threshold is N1.
So just heads
it's
up.
It's so different now. Yeah. A lot of companies will just not even look at your resume if you don't have N1. N2, they might look. It depends on your experience and how long you've been in Japan. So I'm lucky that I've found jobs through people I know.
Make those connections.
Don't underestimate connections,
Network.
especially in Japan. People think it's all about shikaku, like your qualifications, but actually I think especially maybe in the Kansai area, I'm not sure, but it's like who you know.
As in the Kansai area and just as a foreigner in general, I think it really, it doesn't hurt to just make those connections.
If you have Japanese people vouching for you when you do a job application, or if you have a bunch of references that are from Japanese people, it will carry you a lot more than just qualifications. As for me personally, I look at my materials, like I still have all my materials from my language school, and I'm like, dang, I could write so much before that I can't write now. However, sometimes like when I'm reading stuff, I'll be like, I know this thing. I studied this way back. But because my daily conversation now is still not formal enough, I have lost a lot of the Japanese I previously had. However, I'm in a completely different environment than I was before. So again, you have to, a lot of Japanese people will tell me, your Japanese is good enough. It's good enough. We can understand you.
What is that? Yeah.
But like at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I don't care if it's good enough to communicate. I know I can communicate. I want to go into depth. I want to be able to be par for par with someone.
Part of your world.
Right? I want to not just be coherent. I want to be eloquent in Japanese. I think if you set that as a goal and make more friends, maybe not just casual friends, but maybe work in an environment that makes you have to use more Japanese, that's Keigo. So even the Conbini workers probably use Keigo more than like a lot of other companies. If you are in a foreign company, you're very casual.
Oh, yeah.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess, I mean, spoiler alert for the Instagram testimonials, but most people said, it was a good, they don't regret going. Like it was a good foundation for their studies, but of course you need to put the effort in.
Were they starting at basic?
Some people were. So I will read those.
Into it? Yeah.
But I wanted to also note one thing. So I have a mutual friend on TikTok and Instagram, but she's from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And she said that her brother was looking into language school in Japan. And she's based in Tokyo. And she could not find a school that would be willing to accept him because of where he's from.
And that's frustrating because what does that have to do with wanting to study language?
Yeah.
Or with anything, really. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Something about the visa. So, yeah.
It could be just international relations with that country, though. We don't, I'm not super 100% knowledgeable about Japan's international relations with other countries.
Yeah, me neither. I was just surprised to see that.
Yeah. But just to put that out there, that could be a factor.
Yeah.
It might not just be that. It could be that's just the situation, right? It's like how some countries will put high risk for travel, right? Like it just depends on the country. The thing I did want to say was like, as someone going into language school at an intermediate level or upper intermediate level, I'd say it was worth it to get over that intermediate plateau. So everyone talks about the intermediate plateau, and I had that, especially with conversation. And so it really helped me to overcome that plateau and get confidence in speaking. Before, I would be really hesitant to speak. And now I don't care. I don't care to make mistakes. I just speak. And then, and if you speak confidently, people think that you're speaking really well. So that's a big thing for confidence boosting. And because you're in an environment where other people are also learning, everyone's using Japanese as a second language. So you kind of have this camaraderie. You support each other a little bit. There may be a little bit of competition, but it depends, But otherwise, good investment for intermediate. I don't know about beginners though.
Yeah, that's a good question for somebody starting from scratch. But okay.
Testimonials.
Testimonials. So someone said, I feel like it really gave me the ropes and it was super important for kanji learning and general rules that are still the basis for my language knowledge. But best speaking skills came from bunka, fashion school that they went to, after, since all my friends at that time were Japanese. So this is Vina, Mikan Mandarin.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember like watching her on YouTube and being like, wow, like she's so immersed. Yeah, so going to fashion school was really like what put her on that level.
I see.
A lot of the students were doing the 2 years, they were preparing for senmongakko.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of the next step. It might not be university. It could just be senmongakko or like the trade school. technical school, trade school.
Yes, someone else said, I actually didn't pay for the school. Although I was applying regularly and was prepared to pay, the school offered me a scholarship as kind of a support for Ukrainians. I think I was the only one there during this 2 years, however, but I don't think this particular school was worth its money. My friends...
Even with the shogakin.
Well, my friends that paid were very disappointed. For the first 7 months, I improved my Japanese, but then I found a job and didn't learn anything after. But this is my own fault. I think if someone studies at school, then 2 to 3 hours more at home, they could do much better. Regarding work, 90% of students at my school were from Nepal and Myanmar. For jobs, the school pushed everyone to restaurants and konbinis for part-time work. Yeah, other people I knew from school found jobs by themselves without the help of the school. Because I also asked them if it helped them, language school helped them find a job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it can give you the foundation, but depending on the school, they might not have career support.
No.
Yeah.
No?
Yours, no.
No, mine, no. They don't really give you the hookup. If there's too many students, they're like, no, that's not what we're here for. Maybe Akamangai or another expensive school, and a more expensive school might have that. Mm-hmm. But you get what you pay for.
Okay.
Okay, another one. Someone said, I went to Japanese language school for 2 years, and without it, I wouldn't have been able to have the friends and connections I have now, and working in a Japanese-based setting would have been so much more difficult. But for me, learning in a school setting was the only option for my Japanese to improve. The first year of living here, learning by myself, I made no improvement.
Oh, well, there you go. Nice.
That gives
If you need structure in learning, I think that's really important. If you're a person that's like, well, I go home and, there's Wi-Fi and Netflix and I just can't sit down and study, you need to change your environment. Either you need a structure, you need a teacher, you need accountability, or why am I? Because I'm looking at you.
Yeah, well, I'm also like, hey, don't call me out like that. Don't call me out on my podcast. I'm kidding.
You got Bimbo used to be, right? She's like shaking her leg.
I'm like,
it's like, oh gosh, she's like legit calling me out right now.
I also just like kind of have to be. But
Okay, one more. Someone said, I think it helped when I was a beginner. I got quite a bit better and could pass the JLPT, so it's worth it for that, which I had to show my N3 certificate to be approved for an apartment, so that impacted my life. Intermediate lessons, not so much, but I did make a friend. And then I said, what? You showed your JLPT score for an apartment? Yeah. And she said, yes, the agent thought it would be good evidence, and it did help me get approved.
You know what though? If a renter feels,
damn,
I know. If a renter feels conflicted about renting to a foreigner because they worry about the communication, it makes a bit more sense that if you have N3, which is considered like really natural conversation, N4 is not quite there. It's like you can make basic sentences, but
N3 is like daily conversation
and like lifestyle stuff, right? Like learning how to search for an apartment and things like that.
In this case, it's like, do you know how to call your landlord and ask them to like come
fix your air conditioner?
Yeah. Or like, will you understand the landlord if they tell you like, hey,
your garbage, your gomi was taken out.
It makes sense, but just the thought of showing my landlord my language certificate, my language scores is okay.
Yeah. I lied. I have one more.
Okay.
Okay, this is the last one. They said, hey, I'm going to a Japanese language school now for about a year. I do think it is helpful finding friends and feeling more at home, but I do question the helpfulness about finding a job. I feel the school is rushing through the program to push you to reach N2 level without thinking about speaking. My Japanese on paper is good, but can I actually use it for job interviews? No way. I'm at level N3 now after 1 year, but that's not good enough for a job. So I like the school and I have learned a lot, but is it actually worth the money? Probably not.
If I can comment, it could be an issue of the school that they chose to go to, because they do list like the intensity levels. Yeah. The higher intensity levels, they focus on like kanji, get the JLPT and get out kind of thing. But you get it. Mm-hmm. However, I feel like the lower intensities, they're like, let's focus on conversation, and we don't have to rush you because you're not like on a schedule to get the JLPT by this time. I really do think that's probably the choice of school, and that's why you need to do research and you need to read reviews on those schools.
Yeah. It is very dependent on the school and the intensity of the program.
Mine was very conversation based, but there were people who chose to do like the intensive, like get the JLPT. I did that the first 3 months, and then I decided to relax a little bit the second 3 months because I graduated March, right? Mm-hmm. But there wouldn't be another JLPT until July.
Okay.
So whereas when I started in October for the fall semester, in the middle of my time there, I would have had the JLPT in December before even finishing the first semester. So that first 3 months, there was a big push. And then the second 3 months, I did like the second trimester.
Semester?
Sorry, trimester. She is.
I've got baby on the brain.
I was like, probably because of me and her other friend who were like recently pregnant and had kids. I was like, wait,
we
what?
do a lot of baby talk.
Trimester. I was like, is there something you need to announce?
Oh, heck no. I mean, happy for you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, second semester.
Okay. Yeah, the second semester was just a lot more relaxed, and I could focus on job hunting. Kind of. It was hard because, you know, the visa really just stops as soon as you graduate. So you have to get on it in March. And that's and usually in January is when job hunting season starts anyway, for every job, right? Because the fiscal year starts in April and you should have your job decided by March.
Yeah. Okay.
How are we on time? Should I get into that last Reddit? All right, so to kind of wrap this up, I know we were talking a lot about, you know, language learning, and I know we dunk on a lot of people who are like, you've lived in Japan for 20 years and you can't say konnichiwa or you can't speak Japanese, blah, blah, blah. And I did find an interesting Reddit post about that. You know, like someone asked, you know, what are your reasons for not learning Japanese? Because we're not here to preach, like, in order to live in Japan, you must learn Japanese. It does make it a lot easier. We're just talking about, you know, learning it in general. But I am curious as to why there are some people who, have not taken the time to learn the language. And it was very eye-opening because, everyone has their reasons, you know? So I'll just quickly read through it and then I'll get us out of here.
Okay.
So the title of the post is, for people who've lived in Japan for 10 plus years but never learned Japanese, how do you feel about it? I've always been curious about this. I know quite a few people who've been in Japan for 10, 15, or 20 plus years, but they never got around to learning much Japanese at all, sometimes not even the basics. And everyone just had different reasons, but what it comes down to was just their job. I think a lot of people either
like getting in the bubble.
They're just stuck in the bubble. And like, sure, there are some people, I think we read it on a Reddit story way back where someone
who
refused, you know, like there was English speakers here and they were like, why don't Japanese people speak English more? They need to speak English for us. And we're not talking about those people. It's more just, you know, the people who really wish they could and maybe have more time to speak and study Japanese, but they truly don't have the time to. So they work in, you know, an English teaching field, or they work in a foreign company where all of their daily conversation is in English. Their clients are English speakers. And then, you know, when they come home, there's really just no one to talk to after that and stuff. So it was just, a nice little refreshing side to why people don't pick up Japanese after that many years. You know?
It might even be an issue of the environment where they are in Japan. So, for example, if you are living in Japan, not just Tokyo, I mean around the military bases. So if you look at Yokosuka, Okinawa, in Yamaguchi Ken, there's Iwakuni, right? So I went to Iwakuni in Yamaguchi to visit a friend. And, you know, the military base is right there. And it was so funny because I've never been complimented more in my life on my Japanese level, because most people who work on the military, there's no expectation. And actually, a lot of the Japanese people that live in these towns learn English to accommodate the military because they want their businesses to thrive from their patronage. So they would actually just automatically greet me in English. And then, like, I always felt conflicted whether or not to use English or Japanese with them because I'm like, well, maybe they want to use English.
Let them practice.
Right? And so it was really funny because I would mix English and Japanese with my friend, and then they would hear me and they would be like, So that's what I mean by the environment. Like, even if you're in a military town, not just Tokyo and not just, well, actually, Kobe is kind of a big foreigner hub as well. Yeah.
I looked at that Reddit post earlier, and there was one comment that I remember. Somebody said their situation is kind of unique because their wife is deaf.
Yeah.
So he's fluent in Japanese sign language,
which
but
is
he
so
doesn't really
cool.
get speaking practice because
JSL.
Yeah.
Shua.
So for sake of time, I mean, I won't read through each and every comment. I just wanted to summarize it.
One
but if
good
you are
one,
interested, but if you are interested in, reading the Reddit, then
it'll be linked.
link it in the notes. But yeah.
Well, I'll also link Gogo Nihon because we were hyping them up.
Yeah.
I had a good experience with Go Nihon. You can try it. It's free. If you don't use them, you don't have to.
Just reach out or look at their website because they have good resources on their website too. So go for it. Okay.
Go for it. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Yay! It was a pleasure.
For
It
being
really was a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
The guinea pig of our two mic guest system.
If you're watching on YouTube or video version on Spotify and stuff, you can see our mic situation is a little different. So if you notice the audio might be a little different too, I'm not too sure how it'll turn out, but thank you for being here. And thank you for being here, Ariana. All right. Well,
let us know how you liked the guest episodes. We have, a list of friends that we want to bring on for different topics. So
many.
You guys are so popular.
Oh, thanks.
Everybody wants to be on our
popular. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Ariana, for being here. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. Yay.
お疲れ様です。
Now we gotta do the